Last week, I had two clients with events going on at the same time, and we had some urgent situations where we were figuring some things out on the fly. I kept coming back to one question, and it's a question that my mom used to ask when I was a kid. Hi, I'm Appy from My Code Happy. I'm a website and data advisor, and I help my clients make sure that their website is working for them, particularly in situations like this. So let me tell you about this question my mom used to ask. She would walk into a room and she would stop and she would say, "Who am I and what am I doing?" And she would shake her head and we would laugh. And she would stand there for a minute trying to figure out why she came in the room and what she was trying to accomplish. Fortunately, I have not been finding myself doing that lately, but I have been coming back to this question. What am I doing? And it's not just a surface question. It goes a little deeper. What goal am I trying to meet? What are the outcomes I'm looking for? What are the trade-offs I'll accept? And what am I prioritizing? Last week with my client events, this question showed up in three different ways. First, one of my clients was releasing a collection of her products online. So we're checking the shipping settings. I've looked over them several times. And then I did what I usually recommend. I did a test. I put an item in the cart and I went through the steps to check out to see what my experience was like. And that's when I found that I couldn't check out. As I looked deeper, I figured out that the shipping settings that had been put in place before I started helping with the site had been set in such a way that if you didn't have an order over a certain amount, then you wouldn't be allowed to check out. Sometimes we use that on purpose, but in this particular case, that's not something we wanted. So I was able to change that setting and make sure that there was no minimum order requirement in order to have shipping work for you. I had looked at those settings several times and my brain had just filled it in like you do a typo. It wasn't until we actually did a test that I found the issue. So here's this question. What am I doing? I'm not just setting shipping settings. I'm testing to be sure that the customer experience is that they can find what they want and check out easily. Because in my experience, you plan and build as close as you can. And then when you test, that's when you find, for me anyway, there's at least one thing that I missed. And that question, what am I doing? What's my goal? What's my outcome? That's helping me make sure that my goal is not change the shipping settings. My goal is my customer has a good experience. And that helps me understand that I need to take more steps than just change the shipping settings. For another client, she had an in-person event. She's using a point of sale system that's new to her and connects to her website. And as she's preparing for the event, she's testing this new point of sale system. There are some things that she needs, and she requests that I help her put those in place. One particular thing I built for her and I let her know, and she requested some alternatives. So we pursued those for a while, but the trade-offs weren't as good. So finally, I was able to have a conversation with her on the phone, and we talked about these alternatives, and I was able to ask her to test the solution that I built first. And she told me that there was an issue that she didn't want to have with that. And I was able to tell her that I set it up so that what she was worried about would not be a problem. And when she tested it, she was thrilled because it didn't have the trade-offs of some of the other solutions. So if you go back to this question, what am I doing? I'm not just building what the customer asks for. I'm listening to them and helping them have the best solution that fits what they need. And it still doesn't matter if I build that if they don't understand how it works and that it will meet what they're looking for. Communication is what they heard. It's not what I said. And so when I'm building something for a client and communicating with a client, I keep this in mind. What am I doing? I'm not just building something. I'm helping them meet a need and communicating with them about how what I built meets that need, and being able to answer their questions or their concerns is part of that. I can think I'm being really clear, but if that's not how they perceive it, then I have work to do. Sometimes it takes getting on the phone, doing the video chat, doing the demo video, whatever it is that helps them understand, that's part of my job too. The last situation that came up this week was with that same client. And even though we had spent a lot of time preparing for this event and getting things all set up, I still got a phone call on the first day of the event. And what she needed was some help because her priorities had shifted. In her online store, she has some products that work really well online because they allow the customer to choose the product and then to select several different options so that they're able to specify exactly what they want. It's a very precise way to choose that product for them. But during an online event where she's trying to use that same product to check people out quickly, and it's not as important to her to record exactly which variations everybody is choosing and bringing up for her to check them out. What she needs is speed instead of precision. So we built some products for her where she could select the product only. There's no variations. Those products show up for in-person events only, not for people who come to the website because the priorities are different. And there are trade-offs. She doesn't get as much information recorded from the products that she's using for checking people out for events, but she gets enough information with just the name of the product, and she gets more speed. And that's what's important for this particular situation. So it goes back to this question: what am I doing? I'm not just building products. I'm helping my client have the tools that she needs for her priorities. For the event, we need speed. So while you do need to make sure that the trade-offs are acceptable, knowing your priorities can help you make the best choice for the particular situation. That's true of just about every decision in life and in business. It can help you decide which platform you're going to choose for your website. It can help you set up your systems for your business. Do you need a website? Do you need a full website or an e-commerce website or a landing page? What's your priority right now? How are you going to market your business? Are you going to use social media? Are you going to use Substack or YouTube? Your priorities and your strategy can help you make these choices. And let me throw in a little data tip here. If you're keeping track of data, what data do you need in order to make decisions? That can help you decide what kind of data would be the most helpful to you to keep track of. I've been coming back to that question: what am I doing? And it's been helpful. I hope it's a helpful question for you. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again.